What an opening weekend for the New York Yankees as they go into Houston and sweep the Houston Astros in a 4-game set, winning Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and the cherry on top was today with a 4-3 victory, opening up the season 4-0 for the first time since 2003. And man, does this start to this season feel so much different, and it gives you so much excitement if you're a New York Yankee fan, because what we saw this weekend, we have not seen this team do. We have not seen this franchise do in a very long time. The formula that the New York Yankees used this weekend to win these 4 games was not something we've seen this team do in a very long time. You go 82-80 last year. You go into the offseason staring at the abyss in many different situations, in many different areas of the franchise, wondering what direction this team was going to take. They go out and get the big fish in Juan Soto, striking a deal with the San Diego Padres. And you open up the weekend in Houston, which has been Minute Maid Park has been a house of horrors for the New York Yankees over the last couple seasons. Of course, last year you had the nice 3-game set where you swept Houston with Jason Dominguez and Austin Wells making their debut. But at that point in the season, all hope was lost basically for a potential playoff run. This series was different. The energy around this team was different. Finally, the New York Yankees go into Houston and dominate the Astros after all of these years of going into Houston and walking out of there in the playoffs with losses, walking out of there in the regular season with losses, walking out of there losing series, getting swept. And today, the turntables turn. The New York Yankees go into Houston and sweep the Houston Astros to open up the season with an undefeated 4-0 record. The 162-0 dream is alive and well if you're a New York Yankees fan, because this was amazing. The energy was phenomenal. And you go into this season, you went into this series, this 7-game stretch with the New York Yankees, and you had Houston for 4. Of course, coming up, you've got the Arizona Diamondbacks. And you kind of were wondering how the Yankees were going to fare, right? 7 straight games to start the season, 4 in Houston on the road. Then you got to go to Arizona for 3. Again, Houston's been a spot that they've always struggled in. Houston is still a very good team, still have a lot of very good pieces. Look, all of these games, except really Friday's game where it was a 7-1 win, all of these games are close. I mean, the Yankees needed to come from behind in a lot of these games, 3 of 4. They needed to come back again today and fight back after the game was tied 3-3, where the Astros were able to get a little bit of a rally. But the Yankees had to come from behind in the first couple games. 3 of the 4 here, they had to come from behind. The first 3 today, of course, they had the lead. Astros ended up coming back to tie it. So it was still a tough series. It was still a hard-fought series. And then, of course, now you got to go into Arizona and you face a team that was in the World Series last year, or your National League pennant from last season in the Arizona Diamondbacks, who got a lot better, a young team. And you were kind of wondering how the Yankees would open up the season. And you're like, all right, you could potentially split in Houston and then go to Arizona, maybe take 2 or 3, come out of there 4-3, and you'd feel good about that before your home opener against the Toronto Blue Jays on Friday. And the New York Yankees just exceeded every single expectation possible. I mean, they go out there and win 4 games, sweep the Astros, and the way they did it, again, is something we haven't seen this team do in a very long time. So today we'll be recapping the entire series. We'll be breaking it all down. We'll be doing this for a good majority of the Yankees series this season. We'll be recapping them here, doing a series recap shortly after the series finale of every series this season. So make sure you like and subscribe. I appreciate all the support as always. We'll have a lot of Yankee content coming your way this season. Of course, I had the Bubbs Talking Bronx Bombers podcast that I've done over the last 2 years on Apple Podcasts. I decided to transition that here more over to the channel because I want to incorporate some live streams. I want to incorporate some more of these, a little bit longer episodes, reach out to the audience a little bit more than just audio episodes. So I decided to basically take that and turn it here into the YouTube. So, of course, got a lot of other things as well going on this channel where I talk all things New York sports, all of the major New York sports teams. So definitely check it out. Please like and subscribe. appreciate all the support as always. I got some overall thoughts here before we get into each game and what took place in games 1, 2, 3, and 4. We'll also get into some of my top performers later on, but we got to start with the man of the hour, Juan Soto. I don't want to waste any time talking about Juan Soto. I don't want to waste any time waiting to talk about Juan Soto. We got to get right into Juan Soto, the man of the hour. Are you going into this season? Juan Soto, you acquire him in the offseason. He's the big fish. He's the big guy, was the big move all Yankee fans wanted. Some of us thought, okay, maybe we can get him last year at the deadline. The Yankees, of course, collapsed. The season was the disaster. They never got him. There's always, for the last year now, there's kind of been some of that conversation among Juan Soto being a Yankee. It's going to eventually happen. Lefty bat, short porch, all of these years, all the great lefty Yankees that have crossed through Yankee Stadium, that have been a part of this organization, that have had success. For a guy like Juan Soto at his age, his talent, generational talent, it just felt like he would fit here. He comes here, and I didn't think that he could actually be better than what I thought. I'll be honest. I think we all knew how good Juan Soto is, but watching him in these 4 games, I think he blew by any expectation, anything that Yankee fans even imagine. This guy is unbelievable. Watching this guy and his at-bats, and defensively as well, save the game in game 1 with the gun down at home to win it 5-4 to get to 1-0 to win on opening day. But the at-bats that Juan Soto puts together, the energy that he brings. Forever now we've talked about, the Yankees locker room, really under Boone more recently. It feels like that 2021, 2022, 2020 season, it felt like this locker room was missing that energy, missing a little bit of that edge, missing a little bit of that, I don't want to say cockiness, but that confidence, that just that type of confidence, that energy that they were just missing it. A little bit of chippiness, but it's all good though. And, they went out and got Donaldson. That never worked out. He kind of was that guy that maybe, I think he made the locker room worse. But the Yankees brought in a couple guys this offseason that do that. Soto being one of them. Stroman's another guy too that I think some Yankee fans were skeptical of, but he was great on Saturday night, which we'll get to his performance here in a little bit. And a Verdugo as well. He's obviously got the history a little bit with the Yankee fans, but knows the rivalry, Boston rivalry, got some swag to him, kind of, plays the game with that energy, plays the game with that edge, plays the game with that tenacity, that confidence. Same thing with Soto. He's got the Soto shuffle. We all know it. Just that confidence level that this team has been lacking, that little bit of that kick in the gut that this locker room needed. This locker room needed a little bit of a kick in the butt to get going. They've needed it. They've been flat forever now. We've talked about it so much, how you watch this team and they put out a boring brand of baseball. The games just don't have much energy. They're boring to watch. That's the way it's been. For the Yankees, these 4 games, it's not the case. They were so exciting. The at-bats were great. And it starts with Juan Soto. And this is a guy that it's not like he's been picking up hits. It's not only that he's picking up hits in big moments. He's working counts. He's got good at-bats. He's picking up hits against really good pitching. Let's give you a stat here from Juan Soto. This weekend, he was the first player since the expansion era, which was 1961, to have 3 go-ahead RBIs in 3 of the 4 first games with the team. That's how good Juan Soto was this weekend. We saw him do something that hasn't been done since the expansion era. On top of that, Juan Soto, he had 12 times on base in his first 4 games at the Yankees. He joins Pat Collins in 1926 and Bob Watson in 1980 as the most times on base through his first 4 games as a Yankee at 12. He joins that company there. So Juan Soto had an historical weekend. And on top of that, let's look at his overall numbers. He went 9 for 17, 1 home run, 2 runs, 4 RBIs, a .529 batting average, a .600 on base percentage, a .765 slugging, and a 1.365 OPS. And the biggest one of them all was the hit this afternoon to drive Gleyber Torres in to win the game in the top of the 9th against Josh Hader, who's one of the best closers in baseball, has been one of the best relievers, has been one of the best closers in baseball for a very long time. Big moments, going for the series sweep in Houston against the Astros. Juan Soto got it done. This guy's unbelievable. And in the cannon in the first game, at home plate, to get the job done to seal the deal and win. I mean, watching this guy, he does not waste a single pitch in the field and at the plate. The amount of 3-2 counts he works, the amount of just pitches that the majority of the MLB, majority of baseball players would swing at, that he lays off of. His eye is amazing. And he's only 25 years old. The scary part is he's really in the beginning part of his prime to just entering his prime. That's what's crazy about Juan Soto. That's the craziest. You know, you look at what he's done in his career, and you probably say, oh, he's 30, 31. He's 25 years old. 25 years old. And the extension comments are already starting, which we knew this was coming. We'd love to see him extended. I don't think anything will happen until the end of the season, but this guy's got to be a Yankee for life. I mean, what we saw, and this isn't an overreaction. He's a generational talent. But seeing it live, watching it, living it, not like just seeing highlights and watching him occasionally in San Diego and, of course, when he was with the Nationals, but seeing it live, watching the way he approaches every single at-bat, approaches every single pitch is just, it's special. He's just special, man. It's speechless. I'm probably repeating myself. I've probably said the same thing for the last 5 minutes, but he really does just leave you speechless. That's how good he is. I mean, it's truly this weekend watching him was one of the best stretches of performances, one of the best stretches of at-bats I've ever seen somebody take in a Yankee uniform. That's how good he was. And this is just the beginning. We got 158 games to go, and twisted his ankle a little bit in game 2. You're thinking to yourself, oh no. This is like, you're thinking right in that moment, you're thinking to yourself as a Yankee fan. And if you're a New York sports fan in general, we've seen so many awful injuries. If you're a Jet fan, it was Aaron Rodgers going down. We've seen so many awful injuries to this city that has happened to this city. Whether you're a fan of the team that has had an awful injury, Edwin Diaz last year for the Mets, whatever it is, there's been so many awful injuries. When Soto went down there and was kind of hunched over and looked like he was banged up a little bit, you're thinking to yourself, no way. This guy played 162 games in game number 2. He's hurt. Looked like he twisted his ankle a little bit. Some of it could have been cramps. He just quickly ate a banana, which he almost had a Garrett Cole banana eating. They got to have a contest, him and Garrett Cole. But you're thinking to yourself, man, no way this is happening. Like, no way Juan Soto is going to miss time to start this season. And he goes in his press conference at the end of the game, his interview, and says, no, I'll be out there tomorrow. I twisted my ankle, but I'll be out there tomorrow. And that's the mindset. He plays every single game. It would take a lot to get this guy to not play. You know, he's one of, I believe he's just 4 players last season to play the entire season. It was Matt Olson, Juan Soto, Marcus Semien, and somebody else, I believe, on the Diamondbacks. I forget who it was, but one of 4 players last year to play all 162. And see him out there the next day, making a big impact, hitting a home run. So he's special. He's special. And you hear Marcus Stroman as well talk about Soto and talk about what he brings. You know, he's just one of those guys in the clubhouse that is so likable. Guys can rally around, guys respect, and he's a guy that is so good that Stroman said, you know, when he's a grandfather and when he's got, you know, grandchildren and stuff like that, he's going to be telling them that I played with him one day. You know, then that's kind of just, that's how good he is. You know, like guy, he's just to be around. He's special. And you see what Oswaldo Cabrera even said, how watching him in the cage, watching how he approaches, watching his mechanics, just seeing how he approaches hitting, seeing how he approaches every single pitch and does his cage work and does his side work, how attention to detail oriented he is, made Oswaldo a better player. I mean, Oswaldo him and Soto led the way this weekend. I mean, they really did. Actually, in fact, they were combined 16-33, 44 average combined. I mean, that's how good they were. We'll get to Oswaldo here in a little bit, but it's special, man. It like watching Juan Soto, you could not have drawn up, these script writers were perfect. I mean, you could not have drawn up a better opening weekend for the Juan Soto era in New York. And that's another thing I want to get to as well. You know, the team as a whole with better at-bats. I mean, how many 3-2 counts did we see this weekend? How many just fouls, good counts, working deep in the counts, even if they don't end well, working pitchers, right? How many times did we see last year where it'd be, I mean, how many times last season did we see the whole mindset of, swing early, take late, like in counts, in that kind of approach, and where you'd see an 0-1 count or whatever, Yankee, ground out or big spot, you ground out, double play. We saw all of that last year. There was never any good at bats. We saw all the opposite this season. We saw better at bats. We saw working counts. And the crazy part is the Yankees went 4-0 this weekend. They went 4-0. They swept. They were that good. They went into Houston and dominated. And they did it without Aaron Judge and Gleyber Torres, who led off, being basically a non-factor. Aaron Judge hit 125. He went 2 for 16. And Gleyber Torres went 2 for 15. He hit 133. Judge and Gleyber were non-factors this weekend. Combined, they had 4 hits. Or I apologize, 2 hits. No, 4 hits. I was right the first time. Combined, they had 4 hits. He went 2 for 16. And then Gleyber went 2 for 15. 125, 133. Those were the batting average. And the Yankees went 4-0. So as a Yankee fan, while you'd like to see this guy right here, got the Aaron Judge 62 home run shirt on, you'd like to see him have a good weekend. He did not. He was a non-factor. But that's what makes you even more confident about this team is they went 4-0 against Houston. They went in and swept Houston. And Aaron Judge was a non-factor. Gleyber Torres was a non-factor. And Garrett Cole is hurt. When this team is full strength, they're going to be tough to beat. And I know it's 4 games, but that's the way it is. We only have these 4 games to measure this team on. And these 4 games are great. And also, Jason Dominguez will also be back in the summer. So the potential for this lineup, this team is far from full strength. They're without Cole. They're without Dominguez. Judge struggled this weekend. Gleyber struggled this weekend. And here they are sweeping the Astros. If you would have told me Judge hit 125 this weekend and Gleyber hit 133 and was leading off, I would have said, the Yankees probably lose 3 or 4. But they're a different team. They're a deeper lineup. You got hitting up and down. You got different guys stepping up. Volpe was very good. Even though, of course, the stomach issue today, which made him miss the game, he batted 400. He was 4 for 10 with a double and a home run. Home run on Saturday night. Oswaldo stepped up in a massive way. Even John Birdie in his first game today had an RBI. So, a lot of different guys got it done. I thought Austin Wells looked really good in the 2 games that he played. A lot of different guys. Rizzo as well. 4 for 15. Had an RBI. 267. I thought he was solid. So, up and down this lineup, you got a lot of different contributions. Now, let's go through, break it game by game, kind of take you through what happened in each game, give you my takeaways. So, like I said, 3 of these 4 were comebacks. Today, they had the 3-1 lead. Astros ended up fighting back, clawing back into this game late. They clawed back in the bottom of the 6th to make it 3-3, where Clark Schmidt got taken out of the game. Loaiza comes in, got a couple hits. They ended up scoring. Now, the bullpen was fantastic this weekend. We'll get to that here in a little bit. But first game, they come back, and I'll be honest, right? Like, it's game 1, opening. And that's the beauty of opening day, right? Is like you either start 1-0 and you can think of all the positives you saw and you're undefeated and it's great, especially if you have a day off the next day. Like if you play Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, because a lot of teams do, where it's a 3-game set, you have a day off Thursday, then Saturday really starts to grind to 162. For the Yankees, of course, it was a 4-game set, but for the teams that have Friday off, if you win opening day, you're 1-0, you're undefeated for a day, you get to enjoy that, and then Saturday really starts the grind. And as a fan, that's what opening day is all about. Everybody's 0-0. Everybody's got the same record. No matter what the expectation is, you have an opportunity to start the season undefeated. So you're going to react. You're going to overreact. It's just the way it is, win or lose. And a lot of Yankee fans, including myself, the first couple innings of this game, I was panicking. I wasn't panicking. That wasn't the right word to probably use, but I was frustrated. Yankees had 3 double plays in 4 innings, including 2 with the bases loaded. And I'm thinking to myself, this is the same thing as last year. And that was my mind. I'm sitting there. This is the same thing as last season. We're down 4-0 to the Houston Astros. Nestor, I thought I give him a lot of credit for working out of it. He was far from his best stuff. I give him credit for working out of it and giving him some length. And after the first 2 innings, he went the next 3 scoreless. So I give him credit for that, keeping them in this game and not letting it get out of hand where it was 6-7-0. But you're down 4-0. They weren't hitting. They were grounding into double plays. They were leaving runners on base. You're saying to yourself, this is 2023. This is 2023. We're going to lose this game 6-1. And then they end up coming back with a big inning in the fifth where you started to see this year's team just peek its head. Soto singled to right. Trevino scored. Torres went to second. Oswaldo went to third. Then you had Rizzo who got hit by a pitch. Oswaldo ended up scoring. And then Volpe walked with the bases loaded, which ended up scoring Torres. So the Yankees were able to get it done in various different ways. They had the single by Soto, which got an RBI. You had Volpe get a walk. You also had a hit by pitch. 3 runs on 2 hits. Yankees make it 4-3. And then in the top of the 6th, Oswaldo with the home run make it 4-4. And then Verdugo hit a sac fly, which scored Judge in the 7th to make it 5-4. So after going scoreless in the first 3 innings or 4 innings, the Yankees were able to come back and were able to jump back into this game. And through the 5th, 6th, and 7th, they scored 5 runs to make it 5-4, win this game, get to 1-0. Like I said, when you look at the final numbers of this game, Soto went 1 for 3 with an RBI. He had 2 walks as well. Again, just the ability to work counts, the ability for him to get on base is really something special. And Oswaldo as well, who started this weekend, phenomenal. He went 2 for 4 with an RBI, a home run, and 2 runs as well. Like I said, I thought Nestor early on was poor. I mean, he allowed 4 runs in the first 2 innings. But, like we always say, I give Nestor credit because he was able to work out of it. He was able to give the Yankees some length. You know, if he only gave them 3 innings on opening day with 7 straight games, that would not have been good. But he gave him some length. Finished 5 innings, 5 hits, 4 runs, 4 earned, 2 walks, 5 Ks, allowed 1 homer, 76 pitches, 54 strikes, ends the day with a 7.20 ERA. Wasn't great, but you respect the effort. You respect the fact that he went out there, grinded it out on opening day, didn't have his best stuff, gave him a fighting chance. And credit to this Yankee offense, which is a complete 180 from last year in a positive way, for going out there and finding different ways to get some runs across and scoring their 5 runs in bunches through the 5th, 6th, and 7th inning. They finished with 5 runs and 8 hits, no errors. Loaizaga picked up the win. The bullpen was great this weekend. In this game, Loaizaga had 2 innings, 4 hits, 1 K, no runs. Ian Hamilton is unbelievable. I mean, Ian Hamilton really might be the best guy in this bullpen. He is phenomenal. Very good in this game. And in Clay Holmes, Cardiac Clay is what a lot of people are calling him. He got the job done. It was not smooth. It was not easy. Allowed 3 hits on 8 pitches, 5 strikes. So it was a quick inning, but it wasn't easy. Clay Holmes does not make things easy. He just doesn't. He does not. He gets the saves. You know, he had the save in this game, had it on Saturday, but he does not make things easy. Even today, he didn't make things easy as well. Where you had a situation with Yordan Alvarez, of course, coming up. It took it was first and second. Yordan Alvarez came up. It took a diving grab, a sliding grab for Alex Verdugo to prevent the tying run from scoring. So Cardiac Clay he'll get the job done, but it's not smooth. It's not Mariano Rivera shutdown. And look, there's not many guys that can do that. There's nobody that can do that. Mo is the unquestioned all-time great, the GOAT as a closer, but Cardiac Clay is something else. It's your heart rate's gonna increase with him by far. Anytime he takes the field. So it's he got the job done, but it certainly wasn't easy. But Ian Hamilton, man, he is nasty, and you got to give credit to this Yankee team. I mean, we've criticized a lot of some of the pitching, that decision that they made this year. You know, your early thoughts in this game when they were down 4-0, you're thinking to yourself, oh, Blake Snell was available, didn't get Blake Snell. Dylan Cease was available, didn't get Dylan Cease. Didn't trade for him, weren't willing to give up Spencer Jones and some prospects for him. You're thinking to yourself, man, you're in a win now mode, and Nestor Cortez is getting lit up, and you see Blake Snell and Dylan Cease go elsewhere. You could have had one of those guys. We've been saying it forever that they need another pitcher. And you're thinking to yourself, this is exactly what we thought was going to happen, and here it is. So you're glad Nestor got out of it. You would still like to see Nestor, but the opposite perspective is credit to the Yankee organization for finding Ian Hamilton. You know, this is a guy that's been through a lot in his career. Of course, his time in Chicago got hit in the face with a lined drive, had to get surgery on his face. Really almost ended his career, really. And for him to come back, for him to battle his way back, pitched one game with the Twins in 2022. Yankees found him last year, pitched to a 2.64 ERA, and is a big reason why this Yankee bullpen did not allow a single run this inning. I mean, is I think the nastiest and probably might be the best guy in this bullpen. That's how good he's been. So that's game one. Comeback. Looked poor the first couple innings. They battled. Nestor battled. Oswaldo was good. Cardiac Clay. Those were the 5 notes that I put on my document. That's how you describe game one. You get the job done 5-4. You move on now to game two. A lot less stressful. Yankees get the job done 7-1. Now, for a while, it was 1-0, and it looked like maybe they lose this game, 1-0, 2-1. But it became less stressful after the 7th and 8th inning, where the Yankees were able to put up 6 runs over those 2 innings, got the job done 7-1. Luke Weaver came in, ended up picking up the win. Nick Birdie, Victor Gonzalez, Caleb Ferguson, and Clayton Beater, who had a 3-pitch inning. Those were your guys out of the bullpen. And Rodon started. Now I'll start with Rodon, because you guys know how I am with Carlos Rodon. We were all very hard on him last year. This was also another comeback, by the way. Like we said, 3 of the first 4 here were all comebacks. Very hard on Rodon last season, rightfully so. Struggled last season, dealt with the injury, came back, was terrible. He was awful last season. And you went into this year and you were kind of like Rodon. The 2 biggest X factors that we've talked about on this team were Carlos Rodon and Giancarlo Stanton. Those were the 2 biggest X factors. Rodon's got to be an X factor with Cole or without Cole. He had to be an X factor, but especially with Garrett Cole, especially without Garrett Cole, rather, because he needed almost in a way take over that number 1 role. Now, I know Nestor started opening day, but I would still say that Rodon is kind of your number 1 guy. He's got to be relied on to be that. And it's a lot. You're asking a lot for a guy to do that after what we saw last season, where he struggled to stay healthy. And when he was healthy, he wasn't very good. Pitched to a 6.85 ERA. Couldn't get out of the first inning against the Royals to close out his season, where he allowed 8 runs to end his year. It was awful. It was bad. But this was a guy that came out there yesterday, has a lot of pressure on him this season to perform, especially with Cole going down. And I thought was very, very solid. I thought looked really, really good. 4 1/3, 5 hits, 1 run, 1 earned, 3 walks, 4 Ks. He allowed the 1 run in the bottom of the first, and that was it. It was a Bregman single where Altuve scored, and that was all the damage. His pitch count was a little bit up, 87 through 4 1/3, but it's outing number 1. This was one of his better outings that we've seen in the Yankee uniform. Really, that's how bad he was a year ago, and I'm not trying to crush him. We're rooting for Rodon. I'm pulling for Rodon. If you wear the pinstripes, we all want you to succeed. Last year was poor. You put it behind you, new season, looked like you lost some weight, put a little bit more on the fastball, and I was happy for Rodon. I was happy to see it, because if this guy is right, and if Cole comes back healthy and back to the goal that we saw last season where he took home a Cy Young, that makes this team even that more dangerous. So I thought it was a really good step in the right direction for Carlos Rodon. And you were good. You were happy to see him bounce back after that run he let up in the first inning. Didn't lose confidence. Kept going with his stuff. Took care of business against a good lineup in Houston. Sent it over to the bullpen. And unfortunately, didn't get much run support until, of course, late in the game. But, kept the Yankees in this game. Allowed them to have that big 7th, 8th, and 9th inning where they were able to put up 7 runs. Now, your runs in this game, Oswaldo, again, Volpe scored on Oswaldo's single to open up the 7th, and then Soto worked a walk. So the Yankees ended up getting another RBI off of that. So 2 runs on a hit there. That was in the 7th. Now you go to the 8th, and there was a lot going on. Volpe ended up grounding into a fielder's choice. Rizzo scored on an error. Verdugo ended up advancing on second on the throwing error at the play. Wells then reached on a bunt single, so we saw a little bit of bunting. And then Oswaldo single to center. Volpe and Wells both scored. That made it 6-1. That was 4 runs, 4 hits, 2 errors through that inning. And in the top of the 9th, Stanton 419 feet home run for Giancarlo Stanton. And that was good to see. Made it a little bit more out of reach, gave a little bit more room for error, I guess, for Clayton Beeter, who ended up having a 3-pitch inning, which was pretty cool to see. And then they sent him down because I guess they want him to build up a little bit more strength. Don't want to, I guess, overuse him or whatever, but 3 pitches, they sent him down the next day. Like that, the comedy in that was crazy. That was definitely interesting. So Soto went 3 for 4 in this game. I mean, nothing new there. 3 for 4 RBI, a walk. Rizzo went 1 for 4. Stanton went 1 for 5 with a home run. Cabrera was phenomenal. 4 for 5, 3 RBIs. Oswaldo is playing himself into a starting third base gig right now. And he's also potentially playing DJ LeMahieu out of a job. That's how good he's been. You got to give credit to Oswaldo for doing that, taking advantage of this after last season was awful. And I saw a stat the other day. I think Oswaldo last year had 6 hits in 200. There was a stretch where he had 6 hits in like 296 or something at bats. This year, he's already got 7 hits and 16 at bats, batting 438 through the first 4 games. Phenomenal. Saw Soto in the cage. That'll do it to you. You watch him up close, take some pointers, and we saw a completely different Oswaldo Cabrera. This guy was playing out of his mind this weekend. Give him a lot of credit. Not many believers in him coming into this year. If LeMahieu was healthy, he would probably only been in the lineup maybe 1 or 2 games. And for him to come out after what happened last season where he was not very good and, you wondered kind of what his future was with the Yankees. For him to come out and play like this weekend, similar to Rodon, you give him a ton of credit. And you love to keep it going because maybe the Yankees find their answer. Maybe they stumble upon their answer at third base and, you stumble upon him and as a prospect and you develop him. I know it's only 4 games, but he looked really good. Now you go to game number 3 here. Marcus Stroman, back-to-back, like these were the big back-to-back starts. It was Rodon. How does he bounce back after a tough year last year in game number 1? And then it was Marcus Stroman, first game as a Yankee. How does he bounce back and perform in this one? And what you saw was a very, very good outing for Marcus Stroman. And he didn't get much help from his defense, unfortunately, for Stroman. But he worked through it. He grinded. He toughened up. And he looked really good. 3 runs allowed, all were unearned. So for Stroman, he really ended with 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, 3 runs, no earned runs, 2 walks, 4 Ks, 101 pitches, 58 strikes. This is exactly what you expect out of Marcus Stroman. That sinker that he throws, 91 miles an hour, right in that range that you want to see. And another guy, too, that you add to this locker room, brings that confidence, bring that edge, brings that energy. You saw it out there on the mound. It was very emotional in a good way. Was fired up after he got some big Ks. As your third starter, when Cole comes back, slots in more as the 4, as that middle of the line rotation guy. This is exactly what you expect out of Marcus Stroman. 6 innings plus, 2 to 3 runs, maybe 4 runs, and gets the job done, keeps you in the game. And this game could have gone out of hand for the Yankees. It could have. They made a lot of errors. They had some throwing mistakes. Of course, the one throw goes into the dugout. They had some mistakes. They had some 3 errors is a lot. But Stroman worked through it. He grinded it out, and his stuff looked really good. 6 innings, no earned runs. Picked up the W in his Yankee debut. And hopefully you see that same Stroman on Friday at Yankee Stadium against the Toronto Blue Jays. So that was definitely good to see. Again, this was also another comeback. Juan Soto with the home run in this one, his first as a New York Yankee, went Oppo Taco over the Crawford boxes in right field, or left field rather. So you had that. Soto and Oswaldo homers actually in the first inning. Soto's 349 feet. Oswaldo's was 341. Oswaldo was a 2-run shot. Soto's was a solo shot. That was the top of the 7th where the Yankees made it 4-3. And that's something else I think you notice here in this game. Is last year for the Yankees, you would see, all right, a 4-0 game. They would score like 1 run in maybe the 3rd, and then they would score like 1 run again in the 8th. It'd be like a solo home run, and then maybe you get 1 inning where you work a walk, double, you drive him in or whatever. You get that rare occasion where you actually situational hit, you drive a run in. That's not the case with this Yankee team. Like, this Yankee team scores in bunches. You see these innings that they score and they get hits and they put together good at bats. I know today was a little different. They had 4 innings where they scored their 4 runs. It wasn't like they had that one big inning. But previously in these games, we've seen them score in bunches. You saw it on Friday night where they scored 4 runs in 1 inning. It was obviously in the 8th. In this game as well, you scored 3 in the 7th. This is a team that up and down the lineup 1 through 9 has the potential any inning to go out there and put up 3-4 runs. You haven't been able to say that about a lineup in a very long time. Definitely not last year. Just more of a refreshing taste that you got from this team. Forgot the word I was going to say. Rather than what we saw last season, which is huge. So those are your that was in the 7th. Then Volpe homered in the 8th, 375 feet to left center. So you had a little for Oswaldo. He hit one to right. Soto and Oppo Taco. Volpe went left center, 375 feet. So the longest out of all of them was Soto with 349 feet. So those were 3 home runs in this game. They made it 5-3, took care of business. Clay Holmes came into the 9th, and unlike Cardiac Clay, he actually took care of business very simply. 3 balls in play, 3 outs, 1 inning, 0 across the boards, 11 pitches, 6 strikes for Clay Holmes. So a very good afternoon or very good evening for him. And again, Ian Hamilton in this one was nasty. 2 innings pitched, 2 strikeouts, 20 pitches, 16 strikes. So Ian Hamilton, through his 3 games this season so far, this is what Ian Hamilton has done. Or I apologize, his 2 games. 3 innings pitched, 1 hit, 3 strikeouts. 0 ERA, 2 holds. Nasty, nasty, nasty stuff from Ian Hamilton in this game, in this series. So a lot to like there from game 3, from a pitching perspective, from a hitting perspective. There was a lot to like. There was a lot to enjoy in this one. And, just again, for Stroman, getting one under his belt, first game, good to see. Worked in and out of trouble, or not really. Worked out of trouble with the errors, overcame a lot. Pretty pressurized moment for him. All the off the field stuff with the Yankees over the last couple of seasons, to see what he was able to do in his debut was a big question, and he stepped up to the occasion in a very, very big way. So now you move to the final game of this 4-game set, and the Yankees take care of business 4-3. They got to 4-0. This was nerve-wracking. The 9th inning was incredibly nerve-wracking because you have Soto, who drives in Glaber, and then you have Clay Holmes, who Cardiac Clay decides to make it interesting like he always does, and just, gets lets a couple runners on base. It was first and second with Alvarez coming up. He ended up flying out to center. Dubon went to third, and then Kyle Tucker ended up lining out to left. Of course, that was the sliding grab from Alex Verdugo. Both Soto and Verdugo flashed the leather in this series, and Soto also flashed the cannon and right in the first game. But this was another one of these games where you just appreciate Juan Soto, and you sit there and you watch his at-bats, and you watch what he does. You watch how he hits it to all areas of the field. This guy that's what makes him so difficult to pitch against. 3 singles in this one, 3 for 5, 1 RBI. He also had, that was it. 3. He also needed to have the 1K, but 3 for 5, 1 RBI. Comes out of this one with a 529 batting average. He is unbelievable. Singles to center. Then he comes up, and then he singles to left. So you get center, you get left, and then finally, in the 9th inning, Soto comes up, singles to left again. So 2 oppo, 1 to center. Unbelievable. The other one was the other one was more, I guess, left center. But that is just how good he is. All areas of the field. Oppo, pole, center field, does it all. His approach at the plate, working the counts. And that at bat, too, was so impressive against Hader because, he takes the first pitch looking at a strike. It was a sinker, 95 miles an hour. Then the next two, Hader goes to the slider, the off speed, and misses. He goes back to the sinker and misses. Then Soto takes a strike. So you have a 2-2 count. Again, just a tough pitcher in Josh Hader, best versus best. 2 outs, runner on second, 2 outs, runner on second. And then he fouls off a slider. So it's actually interesting. So Hader throws him 2 sliders in a wall. The one he gets him looking, the next one, exact same pitch, basically the exact same spot, kind of out and away or low and away. 89 miles an hour, same velocity. Soto fouls it off. Then Soto takes a sinker for a ball outside. And then he takes that same sinker again, up and in, or up and away, actually, and then lifts it, just kind of punches it out to right field or to left field. Just phenomenal at bat. Works the 3-2 count, battles off, fouls off a pitch, takes the ball to get the 3-2, and then the very next pitch, ball's high and away, he takes it and just punches it out to left. And Gleyber scores. That's just the situational hitting. Those are the special at-bats. Those are the just things that he does that you admire because it's against Josh Hader, one of the best closers in baseball, one of the best relievers in baseball. It's the best versus the best. 2 outs in the 9th, tie game, and he steps up in a big way. I mean, that was just special stuff. You also go to Soto. You also go to Clark Schmidt in this game as well. I thought Schmidt was solid. And look, Schmidt, he struggles the 3rd time through the order. I thought Boone probably could have took him out. I know they had Loizaga warming. They had to wait a little bit to actually call him out because Trevino actually had to have a mound visit, and then Boone had to come out to get a mound visit to get Loizaga to warm up, a little bit more and then get ready. I thought they probably could have took Schmidt out. Now, Loizaga probably wasn't ready, so that was probably the reasoning. But right after Altuve had that double to start the inning, I thought they probably could have took Schmidt out right then and there because you just know Schmidt struggles a 3rd time through the order. That was the case last year. Yes, actually put up a good graphic on it. I forget the exact numbers, but like after the 6th inning or whatever it is, for some reason, Clark Schmidt, just the batting average skyrockets. It's like well above 300. It's the 3rd time through the order he struggles. So I thought Schmidt was good. Again, it's that 3rd time through the order that kind of kicks him a little bit, but he's still a solid outing. 5 1/3, 7 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned, no walks, 5 Ks, 1 home run. It was that Altuve homer. Just missed the pitch. And Altuve, good hitter, gonna make a play like that. But then you go to the bullpen, and the bullpen shuts it down again. Loizaga came in. There was a couple hits there. There was a couple runs that scored, of course, that were credited to Schmidt. But Loizaga come in, stopped the bleeding, got them out of that inning. Caleb Ferguson got a couple really, really big outs. Nick Birdie as well came in, got the job done. And then Clay Holmes, trouble, but took care of business. 1 inning, 2 hits, got out of trouble. Worked in and out of trouble like he usually does. So that was good to see there. But yeah, I mean, look, the bullpen was excellent. Of course, you're scoring in this game. Trevino reached on the infield single. You had the pop-up that was kind of a miscommunication, dropped. And then Stanton scored. So you take that. And then you go to the that was actually different. The pop-up was actually a different play. That was the Gleyber pop-up. But the Trevino was an infield single. Stanton ends up scoring. Birdie then singled. So his first game as a Yankee. He gets an RBI. Rizzo scored on that. Rizzo was actually running the bases pretty well. Rizzo and Stanton, your speedsters on the bases. Judge then hit a sac fly. And, of course, Soto was the big single to left in the 9th that took care of business. So big series win for the Yankees. 4-3 over Houston in this one. Sweep it all. Verdugo with the big catch. And a lot of good things. Now, again, you go to your top performers. We already talked about what Soto brought this weekend. 9 for 17, 1 home run, 2 runs, scored 4 RBIs, 529, 600, 765, 1.365 slash line. Oswaldo was excellent as well. He went 7 for 16 with 2 home runs, 3 runs scored, 6 RBIs. 438 batting average, 471 on base percentage, 875 slugging, and a 1.346 OPS. And in your combined performers from your Soto and Oswaldo combined, 16 for 33, 3 home runs, 5 runs scored, 10 RBIs, 484 batting average. So what you saw out of those two guys this weekend was definitely special, and you would love to continue to see that here the rest of the way. Of course, going into Arizona here this week. Now, you go to some other top performers on this list. I have Marcus Stroman. We already mentioned him. Mentioned his stat line. We'll say it one more time. 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, 3 runs, none earned, no home runs, 2 walks, 4 Ks. Walks out of there with a 0.00 ERA. I thought Rodon also did well. We mentioned Carlos Rodon. 4 1/3, 5 hits, 1 earned, 4 Ks, 3 walks. Good start for him. Good bounce back in a massive season for Carlos Rodon. So I thought he was good. And then really the bullpen, just the entire bullpen. Clay Holmes, Ian Hamilton, Clayton Beeter as well for the 3-pitch inning. Caleb Ferguson got some really big outs. The entire bullpen, they were all great. None of them allowed a run. 15 1/3 scoreless innings from the Yankees relievers. So credit to them because they did a lot of really good things, kept this team in the game, won this team, closed the game out in a lot of these situations. And Nick Birdy as well, credit to him. It was his first big league win since April 17th of 2019. So good to see that for Nick Birdy. I also thought Volpe was very good this weekend. Like I mentioned, hit 400, had a home run. Unfortunately, today had to sit out due to stomach issues. But he was still very good. And a very good start for Volpe. Volpe is another guy that you wanted to see got off to a strong start in his second season. Thought he was very good this weekend. Thought his approach was great. I thought his at-bats in game 1 were unbelievable. Just professional at-bats. The scouting report on Volpe is away. He's going to swing. And he laid off a lot of those pitches and worked a lot of really good counts. Volpe had a lot of professional at-bats this weekend, and a lot of them resulted in hits. So credit to him for that. Thought he looked really good. So those are your top performers. Not too many bad performers considering they swept, but Judge, Torres didn't really hit. 4 hits combined. Judge goes, hit 125. Torres hit 133. And then you still have Cole. Jason Dominguez will be back in the summer. So this team just went into Houston and swept them, and we're still missing pieces. And we still had guys, some of our top players not hit. It's going to be a fun year. It's going to be a very fun year. This weekend, got to fire you up. So, of course, you got Arizona coming up for 3. Tomorrow, it'll be Luis Gil versus Ryan Nelson. So, Luis Gil will make his season debut. Tuesday, it'll be Nestor Cortez versus Zach Gallion. And then Wednesday, in the finale, will be Carlos Rodon versus Morel Kelly. So that's your pitching matchups for this upcoming series against Arizona. Arizona this weekend took 3 of 4 against the Rockies. So they come into this one 3-1. They also lead their division in the NL West with a .750 win percentage. The Yankees walk away from the weekend first in the AL East at 4-0, which is obvious. Orioles are behind them at 2-1, and then it's the Red Sox, Rays, Blue Jays all at 2-2. So Yankees sole possession of first, no matter what point of the season it is. It's always nice to say that. So they'll get the Diamondbacks coming up. Battle of first place. AL West first place team in the Yankees. NL West team first place in the Diamondbacks. Should be a lot of fun. Get to see Luis Gil tomorrow, the final pitcher to make his season debut. Starter at least. And hope for another series win. So we'll be back with another one of these episodes after the Diamondback series on Wednesday when that concludes. Like I mentioned, these will be for as many series as I can do. Most of the series will have series recaps. I also have my daily sports podcast that I do on here tomorrow. I'll be talking more Yankees. I'll be talking Mets as well. Swept. I mean, all these Mets fans saying, Juan Soto's going to be a Met. I don't know about that. He just swept Houston. The Mets just lost to the Brewers in 3 straight. So I think Soto's doing perfectly fine as a Yankee. We'll get to that. We'll get to a lot more. Of course, obviously, all New York sports on this channel. but these are definitely something that I really enjoy doing. So make sure you like and subscribe, share it with your friends, comment in the comment section down below. What are your thoughts on the weekend? What are your biggest takeaways? And of course, how that was pretty freaking awesome to watch Juan Soto. All right. That was awesome. So let's go Yankees. Why not? Let's sweep the Arizona Diamondbacks. Why not? 7-0 going to the Yankee Stadium. I mean, imagine the atmosphere. The atmosphere is going to be great as well. The Yankees, I think, could take two. The Yankees, the way they're playing, they could take 2 or 3 against Arizona. I mean, they're going to lose a game at some point. 162-0 is still alive, but look, it's never going to happen. They're going to lose a game at some point. But imagine if they win this series, sweep them, go into that Toronto series 7-0, and Soto has another big series. When he gets up to that bat, that place is going to erupt. And for Marcus Stroman, that is going to be a loud environment. I mean, that'd be amazing. Imagine if they sweep the Diamondbacks, sweep the Blue Jays, 10-0 start. I mean, don't want to got to take game by game. It's 4-0. Enjoy the 4-0. But man, this was a fun weekend. This was fun, and I can't wait to do it again tomorrow night. So let's go Yankees. A lot more content coming your way. As always, hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.